Uh, Good evening. This is Shadows Pub and Pimp Your Post Thursday evening edition. There we go.
It is now official. Welcome to the evening edition that's earlier for some and later for others.
Right. So I wasn't expecting Bluefin in this morning and he showed up, and I don't see him here tonight, so I guess maybe he may or may not show up.
Raven just shut up.
Pardon?
Raven
Yeah,
just shut up.
yeah, there's Raven.
That's a really cool picture.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Black and white version of a recent portrait posted a couple days ago looks maybe even more expressive. Blue shared this one as well. He was really impressed with it this morning, Axeman.
She has that like Audrey Hepburn look, but like with attitude.
Yeah, we were kind of talking about the eyes and what they were saying.
Yeah, that is really cool.
Yeah, the black and white really does make for a dramatic presentation. It does make for just draws your eyes get drawn immediately to those eyebrows and the eyes themselves. Color is good for redhead. Redheads are always good.
Little bias there.
Axeman says he can drop another portrait of today of redhead just to compare the feeling. Sure. I'm not the least bit biased. I know what's good.
I happen to like white.
I'm getting partial to gray, not a problem.
Let me know when it's all white.
Well, it's entirely possible that it won't go all
No, your
gray.
TV doesn't really, does it?
Dad's never went really gray, and neither did Ken's. Ken's not a full gray, so
Yeah, my
I seem to
my mom.
kind of be like that side of the family. So
Right. My mom gets mad because hers is all salt and pepper. She's like, I want your hair. I'm like, too bad.
I'm good with salt and pepper. You haven't actually missed much, Raven, because we were kind of stalling, waiting for people to show up, and we had only just started when you came in. So, see, we waited for you to show up. Yeah, don't you feel special now? And we had a little visit with Dreamsteam, but she's on the road and she's now out of range. So Nightmare prefers the previous one. Well, they're different angles. Hope she doesn't have long hair with the same sort of texture that mine does. Because that length of hair for me would be like one heavy mop. Which is one of the reasons why I keep mine short. Thank you, Axeman. And Snook.
Speaking of white hair, um, this is the only post I have really that I can share. But it's about stress and finding out how in 2 weeks it can age you really fast. And I was a little shocked by it, and then ended up writing this post. One of the neat things, though, is that you can scroll down to the video on the bottom and click there, and you can watch the mosaic one. Yeah. And you can see people's responses on it. So there's a whole bunch of responses on there, which is really kind of cool. But I did hear from Mom today. She saw the doctor, and she overproduces blood. So it's a form of leukemia. It's a form of cancer, but it's not leukemia. So they have to actually take blood out of her.
She overproduces blood.
Yeah, all the cells, white, red, and plasma, whatever. So she has too much blood in her system, which is kind of funny
Yeah.
because she's only 5 foot. Um, and so it's a really long name, and she didn't send it to me, so I can't tell you exactly what it is, but it's got 3 really long whatever names to it. But it is a form of, again, it's a form of cancer, but she just has to take a pill, and they have to drain blood out of her.
So does that mean she could actually go and donate blood, or is this blood that's just got to be drained?
No. And that's what she asked, because she has been donating blood. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Wow, I had never heard of that.
Yeah, but then there was another, and hers would not be current, the bad one. It would be the good one or something like. There's chronic and something else, and hers would be the better of the two. But one of the side effects she didn't know she had it, but she was reading the paper, and one of the side effects is itching uncontrollably, which is what she was getting to the point where she wasn't going to shower because she would itch so bad afterwards. And it is so a lot of the side effects that this causes, she actually has, but they're like swelling and, and achy joints. And well, she's 81 years old,
Yeah.
So it's not going to send up red flags. I mean, if you were 12 or 13, it would, but not at 81. I mean, you just figure it's old age. So she's got to see the doctor like every week now for a while. But it's a better diagnosis.
So I'm assuming the swelling and the pressure on the joints is coming from the excess blood.
Right, exactly. And so it was, I came home and called her right away. And anyway, and I'm already feeling a lot better about the whole thing. So I have a feeling I'll be taking her to the doctor when I go down there in November. But it's definitely a more positive thing, which is good for both of us. And he said she'll probably live to be 100. And I went, oh, okay, cool. I can handle that.
You sure?
No. It's a love, I mean, it's that. As long as she can live in Florida on her own, I'll be happy with that. Just go down once a year.
I had to
No,
check.
you had to, because believe me, I've been, yeah. But this means when I do go down in November, I will only be there 2.5 weeks and
Yeah.
not longer,
Yeah, you
which is good. I'll be home for Christmas this year, which is weak, unless something god awful happens. But
give
I'll
mom
be
time
home.
to work on it.
Yeah, really. Oh no, you're not leaving.
Or maybe she'll come up the other way.
No, she hasn't been, and that's the whole thing. She hasn't been feeling well because this is the time of year she usually comes up here, and she was feeling so bad that she wasn't, she didn't book a trip or a flight or whatever. And I don't think with her leg it's still healing, that she'd be able to sit in an airplane and not move around at all for very long.
So there's no fear that she'll suddenly say to you, "Oh, by the way, I'm coming for Christmas."
No, 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 no. She doesn't like snow anymore. Anyway, she'd freeze to death.
Oh, well, can't have that.
No, no. Actually, in the ice, because the one time she was here, it snowed, and then we got ice on the sidewalks, and then she stayed inside and didn't go out for a walk, and yeah, and she was worried about breaking a hip. Well, she did it in her own bedroom, all by herself.
You're coming into summertime, aren't you, Raven? Yeah.
Yeah, you enjoy that 159 degree Fahrenheit temperature that you have.
So I see Alberta last week. Last week, I think it was, got something like um, 30 or 40 centimeters of snow. And this weekend, it's Winnipeg's turn. As long as it doesn't come here. Where do you get 150 Fahrenheit? I think some of your heat waves last year were sitting that high.
Yeah. That one year they had to make a new color on the chart for a heat index
Yeah,
because
apparently
it went above.
it's not in the same part of Australia as Raven.
It was like it got so hot there they actually had to add another color to the heat index chart. Like God.
What part of Alberta is your family in, Weeb?
The south, mostly south of Edmonton. I grew up in Calgary. My dad still lives around that area. I've got various siblings that live, scattered up Highway 2 up to Red Deer.
Yeah, I got a sister up in Fort Mac.
Yeah, that's beyond the end of the world up there.
That's probably a good spot for her. She, when they had the fires, she evacuated with their children. But her husband decided he was going to stay behind in case of looters. So I guess when the cops come around to check the house, he didn't make any noises, but the dog started barking and gave it away that he was there. The police were very polite, but they rather firmly informed him that he was to leave. He was under mandatory evacuation. So he had to go.
Yeah, my dog would do that too. Every time somebody comes to the door, she thinks it's an axe murderer.
Good old Carly. All right. And Injun, are you still with us? Oh, Injun fell out. Okay. We'll move on to Nightmare. He'll be back when he gets home. Well, there's pretty nice video.
Oh, she showed up.
Uh-huh.
Hi, young lady.
How are you, pretty nice? Okay. I'm no comedian, but I do stand. Well, that's nice to know. Tell us about this Nightmare.
So I made this title because uh, those people say that they're the stand-up comedian. So actually, I'm not. I don't know how to talk in person in too many crowds. So I guess to express that I don't know how to those to to say some funny things. I write this kind of content.
Okay. How's your riddle contest going?
I stopped it for a bit because I'm out of idea. Then I have busy time this
I didn't catch that. You stopped it because?
because I'm processing papers to leave home. Then
Oh, okay.
Then the ideas of making a riddle, it's not easy.
This is true. Yeah, sometimes you got to decide your time.
Mr. Nightmare, just so you know, when you use pictures with the watermark on them, it's actually illegal. They have the watermark on there because you have to buy them
Yeah,
in
that's true.
in in order to use them. So even though it says where you got it from and everything, it's not supposed to be used unless you actually pay to use it.
So I see the mistake he's made here, Snook, and he needs to pay attention to it. You were on Pixabay and you spotted a picture you really liked, but it was sponsored by Shutterstock, and you thought that it was okay to use because it was on Pixabay. It's not. The sponsored pictures are not okay to use.
So I'll just remove it.
Good idea. Yeah, the Shutterbay ones are there, but they're advertising. I know I've almost done that a few times too. Jeez, I like that picture, and then I go, oh no, 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 can't do that.
Yeah, that's why they put the watermarks on them, so that
Yeah, good
to
catch.
warn you not to use it. Well, yeah.
I was sitting there staring at it and totally missed it. So you caught it. Good catch. It's an easy mistake to make if you're not real familiar with the rules.
Well, it is, and you see it all over the place, and the only problem is that like on Steam, you're making money off of their pictures, so so they could come back at you.
On Pixabay,
If
Pixabay, the ones that are uploaded to Pixabay, you can use no matter what.
right,
But
exactly.
those Shutterstock ones are actually advertising.
Yeah, and they always look better than the ones that you find for free.
Well, of course.
Yeah, because there's a reason for it. It's like, here, you can have this really crappy free one, or
Unsplash. I don't think I've used Unsplash. Or is that the one? Unsplash, I think, is the one that you can link to directly off of Medium, which I've never used. I usually use Pixabay. Maybe I'll have to give them a look. Yeah, they are free to use. So I think I've mentioned before that Hobo doesn't climb the stairs around here. She goes up the railing. And I'm sitting here watching as Tramp is figuring out how to go up the railing. Apparently one is learning from the other.
that's hilarious.
So the two of them are busy playing around over there. At one point, Hobo was on top of the railing, and Tramp was hanging from underneath it.
No, up here, like this.
Yeah, something like that. Okay, Raven, you're up.
Hi. Sorry, I'm anyway in another chatting in another server. Sorry.
Two-timing us, are ya?
No, just sorry, not a server, just organizing natural medicine stuff. Hang on, I'll get the link.
Good plan.
There. He's DMing his girlfriend and sending pictures back and forth. We know.
Who, me? No,
Yeah.
she just left. I get peace and quiet now.
Good for your kitty photo bombing your videos. Smart girl. Your kitty's doing nudes?
What?
look at the flow.
the way the type reads.
Okay.
Doing nude photo bombing.
Did you give us a link there, Raven?
Yeah. Please NSFW. Yeah, pretty nice video.
I want to see pictures of the nude cat.
NSFW the
Alright.
cat.
Okay, so this one, I just thought to share. I'm trying to get it spread around a bit, so feel free to share it. I'm doing a little giveaway of Steam and SBI and Lotus and all that kind of stuff. It's really simple. I'm inviting people to make one very small change to their normal daily routine, and then post about it, and then I'll throw it some love in some, I'll reward them in some way other than the upvotes, like SBI and some Lotus coin and things like that. As well as anyone that put the comments in the post will get some of that Steam bounty. I put a bounty on it. So that's it. That's really it. It's just I've been thinking about a lot of the idea of making small changes in your life. It is springtime for me, so it's sort of like a spring cleaning thing, and just noticing that I get stuck in a rut.
So if Snook was to start sleeping from midnight to 9 a.m., that would be a small change, right?
That would be
Absolutely.
a huge change. That's not a small change. He said small. And that is the most, actually, I just want to say that post is beautifully written. The song blurbs that you put in there go so well with the post. I mean, it was
thank you. Yeah,
a joy to read.
How my brain works. So yeah.
So I want to know how you got the countdown bar.
Oh, Steam Peak.
What about it?
Oh, so that's a function. So if you're using Steam Peak, and you're writing your post, there's a little button called Advanced, and in there you can do all sorts of things. So you can set a different author. So it'll still post from your account, but it'll say that it's written by a different author, and you can have you can set the blurb to be different to the first few lines of the actual text if you want. You can set which graphic you want as the cover, and you can put a little countdown timer on it. So it's the Advanced button at the bottom of the thing where you go to create posts in Steam Peak.
Aha. So I'd have to use Steam Peak, which I don't do.
But does that show up on Steemit too? I just thought it maybe only showed up on Steam Peak.
I don't know. You presented it on Steam Peak.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
The countdown doesn't on Steemit, but the quotes look better on Steemit than they do on Steam Peak.
Hang on. I actually like the little grayed out box. I don't like the way it shows up in Steemit. That's just my personal preference. But...
Oh, yeah. See, and I like it the other.
Yeah. You say potato, I say potato.
I say roof.
So on Steemit, the quotes show up in what looks like a different text.
Yeah, that's right. So on Steam Peak and on my WordPress blog, it's a shaded box. The text is still different, but it has that that shaded box. It's just a markup.
That's how it interprets the change.
Yeah, it's oh yeah.
Yeah, we'll see a lot of that across the blockchain as different front ends take on different abilities. Interesting.
That's the code. That's the code, and then you just end it with
pre-class.
Pre.
Yeah.
Then just then at the end just put the / pre code, and but that's a bit of code I actually got from WordPress. So because that's something you can do in WordPress with. It's just one of the options. It's one of the sort of fancy options when you use the blocks format, which I do like. And then when I brought it across and looked at the went into edit and looked to see how it presents in Markdown language, that was the codes. I went, awesome. So yeah, it's really fun learning all these different formatting codes.
Little bits and pieces here and there.
Yeah.
I like being able to do the drop capitals that they allow over on Medium.
Yeah, right. I don't use that, but I've always wanted to, but I'm using too many features.
Well, one of the things that I like about it is if I've got some plain text, if there's several paragraphs in between my headings, I will break it up a little bit with a drop paragraph, a drop capital at the beginning of a paragraph.
Yeah.
I just got to be careful where I use it.
My paragraphs are too small. I like to keep my paragraphs small just for visual purposes.
I tend to keep mine small, though you do need to vary them back and forth a little bit. So every now and again you throw in a longer one. But yeah, I don't like blocks of text.
So yeah, that's that one. I'm not really phased about the votes, but would love to get it spread around as much as possible. And hopefully there are people who will actually take on the challenge and get rewarded in some way. And yes, small changes. Well, my thing is, okay, so here's my thing. This is what I used to do with my clients. If you make the change as small as possible, like as simple as possible. So like doing something like, right, well, I'm going to do something that basically is impossible, and that's why I haven't been able to do it. It doesn't last. So what I used to get with clients, is do something just small that's different and really sort of inconsequential, or seems inconsequential. So like the example I use, which I did was, I always used to go the same route to work, which involved when I got to the first intersection, I'd turn, was it left or anyway, whatever it was, because I was living somewhere different. Hang on, it was left and then right. So changed it just to go around a completely different way. And because you're breaking routines, when you start doing something small, if you keep doing those small things, then it gets easier to make bigger changes. It's a weird mental thing, right? And so the thing is, if you keep doing that, so if you turn left instead of right, for example, but if you keep doing that, then you're back into a pattern. So the whole idea is to, in every moment, try and do something completely different to what you have been doing. And it's small stuff. And if you do lots and lots of small stuff, then when it comes to the bigger stuff, it actually sticks. So like really important things like quitting smoking, for example, or, whatever, like really important stuff. Or getting to sleep at a certain time of night.
My headset.
I had to chuckle at the quitting smoking because, somebody else I know smokes. So what is it?
That be?
What is it going to be? Going to bed early or quitting smoking?
Neither.
So just do something like I don't know. What's something you always have for breakfast or dinner or lunch or whatever?
I don't.
Right. Okay. Well, okay. So change that one. Have something.
No, I was. Well, there is that. That is a good one.
But that's the point. I
have something in mind. It's just a matter of, change from Diet Coke to Rock Stars. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'd be.
No.
No, it's correct.
Change from Diet Coke to coffee, maybe.
Actually, that's what I was. That was another one. I have two ideas.
Yeah, or like that. Like if you like to have a a particular type of beer with dinner, or then just don't go, well, I'm not going to drink beer. Like, change the brand of beer, like, and just do it for like a week, like, and that's it. So you set yourself a really easy target.
So if you want to quit drinking beer, you go from drinking your 4% beer to near beer.
Yeah.
Oh
For
God.
example, or go from beer to mineral water or Coke or something. So I've got a client at the
Coke.
moment, a disability client at the moment. So he's like autistic and Down syndrome and whatnot, and he was drinking way too much wine. Like, and his medical people were like, you've got to stop drinking wine. Now he's fully cognizant and he's intelligent. It's just that he's not, he's non-verbal, and he's obviously got all these other things. So whereas the naturopath was like, oh yeah, don't drink Coke, but she was like, you know what? I'd rather you drank Coke than wine. And so he's actually now self-regulating his wine by ordering a Coke when we go to the pub. Simple.
So does she have a bit of rocks in her head?
Sorry?
Well, wine has got at least some health benefits to it.
Oh, no.
Coke is just
but it's
sugar.
No. It's no. She still doesn't want him to drink Coke.
Oh, good.
But wine. The thing is, when you're working with like people with autism, is they get really into they get stuck on something, and it's just over and over and over again, right? And so that's part of the disability, is that is the self-regulation part. Okay. Although I'd say normal people who aren't disabled also have this problem too. But see, in some cases, wine isn't good for you. Like, wine is good. Like, there are benefits to drinking small amounts of wine, but it's the large amounts that cause problems. And when you've got, in his case specifically, it is causing problems. And it's not just the too much part, because he's got some serious gut stuff going on, and it just exacerbates it. So trying to drop his wine consumption was about trying to replace the need to have it all the time, and to dissociate it from going to the pub and enjoying live music, which is a really important part of his, like getting out and being integrated into society, and not have that connected to must drink wine and therefore get drunk. So now he actually self-regulates to 3 wines in a week, which is enough. And so he keeps that for the weekend. And so he can still go to the pub and enjoy doing like socializing in the pub and all that, and not drink alcohol. And that's the key. And so, of course, the Coke is moderated, because that's the only time he has it. So he has maybe 3 Cokes in a week and 3 wines. So it works really well.
So when my husband had his heart attack, he decided that because the last thing that he did before the heart attack struck was he had inhaled on a cigarette, that he was going to break a 50-year smoking habit. So he didn't do too badly, except when we went to the branch. And of course, he'd sit down with a bottle of beer, and he was used to the bottle of beer and the cigarette. So he says to me one day, he says, I don't have any problem when I'm here at home. But he says, when we go over to the branch, he says, I keep thinking I need a cigarette in my hand when I've got a drink in hand. I says, well, why don't you take some of your leftover cigarettes over and just hold the cigarette? Just don't light it. Well, he liked that idea, and he did that, except for one problem. Everybody that was there was so quick to try to want to help him. Everybody was trying to light it. So he'd hold the cigarette, and I'd have to beat them off. I finally would just look at them and go, nobody open a lighter. And they just kind of went, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's breaking those associations. And so that's what doing these tiny little change like practices, that's really the main thing, is it breaks associations. So yeah, it's a wonderful little thing. And you know what? It's also fun to get out of routine. So if you think about the stuff that you always do, the routine stuff, then you can extend it to I'm always staying home. Break the routine by call up some friends and go out and socialize, or the opposite. I'm always going out and eating out. I'll stay home. Like simple, something really simple, really simple.
I'm really good with staying home.
Yeah. So do the opposite.
Oh no!
Or if you're always staying home,
Yeah.
or if you're always staying home and on Steam it, stay home and read a book or something. Anyway.
Actually, I do read a book partway through the day. So I'll have to quit reading the book and spend more time on Steam it.
Yeah, or whatever. Yeah, cook, whatever. I see. That's the thing. It's work out what is it that you don't do, and do that.
So over the course of the last few weeks, I've dropped some of the volunteer stuff that I've been doing for various reasons. And when I notified the one organization that I would no longer be representing the Legion at their organization, I immediately received an appeal from them to do another volunteer job with them, which I said I would do as long as I could do it from home. It's maintaining a website for them. So the woman who's currently doing it, who's wanting to give it up, called me tonight and wanted to set up an appointment for us to meet next week. And I'm looking at my calendar and going, but that means I have to go out. I don't want to.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris. So, should be interesting. Apparently Snook has something in mind.
Yeah. So anyone that actually, like anyone that commits in the post and writes a comment, they'll obviously get some of that Steam bounty. And then when people do their post to say this is what I did, I'm just going to give them some. I haven't worked out details, but I'm going to give them some SBI and some Lotus coin. So that's what I'm going to do.
Speaking of which, the SBI was won by Engine and Nightmare. Axeman apparently had already left. But I probably will allow it for him because I know it's quite late at night for him, so he stayed as long as he could. So Nightmare's thinking about stopping smoking. So, Engine, are you back on voice?
I can be.
Okie doke. Do you want to take a turn now? Maybe. Are you good for doing a post now, or do you want to wait a bit? And maybe he's waiting a bit.
Looking for it?
That could be.
Hello?
I hear you.
Hello? Okay, you can hear me now?
I
My
can hear
link's
you.
not my link's not populating, it's just sitting there gray.
Oh, that's weird.
Now it went red. Hold on.
Oh, Discord must be acting up on you. There we are.
Might be my internet combination.
Yeah, it could be combination. We got it there now. Okay. Tell us about this post. Maybe. You are pressing the button, I hope, Engine. Because if you aren't, we're not hearing you. Engine. Looks as though he's having some connection issues. So this was a post that Guilty Party wrote after the witness chat yesterday. And it's talking about the question about bid bots and filling the hole that has been developed by them. Well, not by them so much as by the ones that are downvoting them because of the bid bot use. So check out the post. It's an interesting post. Hopefully I said everything about it that Injun wanted to say. And Snook, that now puts you up. It was. I've got one in the underway at the moment.
This is a post I wrote for the Alliance, the Alliance. And Raymond actually wrote one of his, but nobody else has. Shadow.
What?
And
Slackers.
slackers, they are. All slackers. But it was calling people to write about if you're in the Alliance, what got you there, and what do you like about it, and just kind of this. I ended up talking about Engine because he's the one who started it and is ahead of it, and so it's my home on Steam. We can do anything, and there is no time.
So, yeah, I've been in the Alliance for so long that I've actually forgot when I joined. It was right near the beginning.
I think you were one of the first ones. Yeah.
There we go.
Injun, can you remember who the name of the fellow was? He was from Nova Scotia. He was a bit of a character, a chef. He was in the Alliance. He was also over in the Canada channel on MSP.
The guy did the Steam It Iron Chef?
He may have. He loved his beer. He loved to cook, and he wrote some really decent posts. And I was trying to remember his name the other day because he was kind of the one that kind of. Oh, you're thinking of Bluefin Studios. Pretty nice video.
Not Buzz Beer Geek, right?
Who?
Not Buzz Beer Geek, right?
No, not Buzz Beer Geek. He's kind of tailed off of Steam. I'll have to go back and see if I can find his name. He's a bit of a character.
The Iron Chef?
Nah, over on MSP, he used to call himself Mr. Canada.
Not Jam Jam Food, is it?
Nope. Now I know it when I hear it.
I'm thinking there's 3 or 4 or 5, a handful that like to drink and post foodie stuff. So
this was back. Oh, it's probably been a year and a half since I've seen him post anything.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to remember. Maybe he'll reappear now that they've sent out a whole bunch of emails out to people.
Yeah, they kind of had to since,
Yeah, what the heck was it?
Scared everybody off.
One that popped up in the comments just before the witness chat, Sea Blue showed up in comments on a post.
No shit.
Yeah.
You've seen him in like a year.
Yeah, it's been quite a while. He showed up for a little while on Discord here, and then he disappeared again.
Huh.
So it was kind of neat to see him show up in a comment. I guess he got the newsletter and decided to come and have a look around, see how things looked.
I was just surprised I got an email from steamit.com.
Yeah, they're going to try doing that a couple times a month. And people that aren't on the list can subscribe. All right. Weeb, you're up. There he is.
Yeah, I'm here. So I actually posted a lot this week, and I'm not really too overly proud of most of it. I was just getting some crap out there. But this one I'm kind of proud of simply because of the the sheer feat of determination and will that it took to get this one done. You may remember, Shadows, a while back I was talking about bike riding and trying to get ready for a long ride. And that finally happened last Saturday, a 64-mile ride, which took me just a couple of minutes over 5 hours, if I remember. Long time to be on a bike.
It
Thankfully,
is.
I had a good seat. I had nice padded shorts. My legs were killing me, but my butt, thankfully, was saved.
64-mile ride. Just the thought of getting on the bike would be put me out of wind.
Well, thankfully, it was only the last, 60 miles or so that were really hard.
The last 60 miles.
Yeah, 60 miles would be
Ooh.
about 100 kilometers, Raven.
Yeah, that's about right, 100 kilometers or so. I'm beginning to think in miles down here because it's what they do. Yes, exactly, Raven. Yeah.
Soccer butt cooling hot ass. So basically you're saying the first 4 miles was pretty easy and then it went downhill from there?
Well, it was uphill, I think, most of the way.
Well, the bike was going uphill, but the ride was going downhill.
Exactly. No, thankfully, the second and the fourth legs were predominantly on a decline, which certainly helped. That helped the last 16 miles. But right near the end, at about the 60-mile point, there was a vicious hill just one hill going up that I thought just might kill me.
So
Obviously it didn't, but still.
You meant sections. You didn't mean that you actually developed 2 more legs.
Right.
Trust me. Well, you got through it. That's the main thing.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud of myself, too. They gave me a shiny little medallion, I suppose. It was nice to get some sort of recognition for it. Got home and had a very, very cool, good-tasting beer.
So I'm guessing that you drove home, not rode home.
Yes, indeed. I was walking pretty funny to the car to take my bike over to it because I could not believe how exhausted my legs were. I was not honestly expecting that.
Well, you'd done some practice riding, hadn't you?
I had, and I had done up to half that amount. I've done 32 miles. And when I got to the 32-mile mark, I had an option to end it. But no, I can do this again. It's not too bad. I've got 2.5 hours to finish up. No problem.
Well, now you've done 62, you might as well go back and do it again.
Well, that's exactly it. I guess the next step's going to be 100.
But backwards. Do it, but do it backwards. And then write a post for Raven.
Right
Do it
backwards?
on a unicycle, maybe.
I should ask sometime.
Or
There's
on a girl's bike. Do they even make girls' bikes anymore?
So at the tail end of September, up in Ottawa, there is a National Police Memorial. And every year at the end of September, they have a parade and a memorial service to commemorate those that have died in the line of duty, police and first responders. So leading up to that, there is a group of police that start out in Hamilton, which is southwest of Toronto. And they ride bikes. One group rides and another group runs. And they go right along the lakeshore here and then north up to Ottawa, and they arrive up there in time for the memorial. I should find out how many miles a day they get, because they probably need to do pretty close to that in a day to get that distance. There you go. You maybe can come up and join them next year.
That would be fun. That might actually really be a lot of fun. We'll have to get a passport again, but it could be a good time.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's only police. No, it's not only police that ride, because there was one of our members showed up that was riding last year. or no, 2-3 years ago. I haven't been over there for a couple of years when they've come in because they use the Legion for one of their rest stops. That's the reason I'm aware of them. Plus the fact they come by my house. But it's kind of a neat little thing to do because they're traveling together in a group and then they arrive up for obviously a very serious and somber ceremony. All right, thank you, Weeb.
Thank you.
And Nightmare, you are up. And I see he's typing, so he must be putting a link in. All right. Tell us about this.
So this post is about the meeting up of Stimians in Philippines, but it's kind of far of my place. It's located in Davao, one of the 3 regions in the Philippines. I think I just share it here, maybe to have some support about their. Yes,
So it's not a bad little group that met there. Are you in that picture?
no, it's very far from my place, so I didn't make it.
Ah, well, maybe they'll do one closer at some point.
Yeah, that's I promoted it here because I think they need some support about meeting up next time.
Quite a mixed group of people there.
Yeah, I can see the white people also in the left.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, it's cool.
It is. One thing I have found that quite often, as you get to know people online, when you do meet up offline, there's very little pause time. You don't really have to get to know them, other than going, "Oh, that's what they look like."
True. I'm in bias. I want to join, but it's very far because the Philippines has 3 regions. Um, their meetup place in the different regions, so it's kind of far. The transportation is hard.
So we seem to have some collusion going on here tonight because Injun and Axeman won the shade. Is it a trap or is it a fix? Speaking of Injun, you're up next.
Okay, one sec.
Okay. I'll put on my best kid's voice and say it's a hack.
So there's this lady, right? Lives somewhere up in Canada. She's quite the pimp, and I got a lot of respect for her. I'm not quite sure why she takes in all these crazy animals, but she's the hobos and tramps. I mean, she's got all kinds of things running around over there. No, but for real, this is our host's post about her new house guest. I guess it's not going to be a guest, is it? Is it? You think it's going to be permanent or
Oh, she's permanent.
decided?
I
Okay, well
I think
then,
Hobo would
then
disown me if she saw a trap going out the door.
well, they already attached. Huh? That's cool.
Oh yeah, they're buddies. Well, that first picture is an indication right there.
Yep. But that one on the left there, little tramp, it's cute. We'll go read it. Talks about her getting to know Shadow a little bit and little trick she played on the steps there. I've done that myself a few times with stranger animals that I've picked up here and there. Call the next one Vagabond. That'd be a good name for real.
You know, the crazy part of it is pretty nice. Because Hobo's name was Hobo, I had already selected Tramp before I actually knew the history of Tramp. So when I told the lady that I was going to be getting the cat from, she said, "Have you picked a name?" And I went, "Yeah, we're going to have a Hobo and a Tramp." And she started laughing. She said, "I love it." And then she told me the Tramp's background, and it's perfect. Tramp was born to a feral mother. Yes, I do. Hobo Media. So she kind of fits the name well. I actually wish I'd had a video running here yesterday morning. Hobo was on the front windowsill, and my front windowsill is about 8 inches deep. So when they sit on the windowsill, it's a comfortable ledge for them. And Tramp was up behind the curtain, whacking at the curtain, trying to get the curtain open in order to be able to look at, or to get to Hobo. And I looked over just in time to see Hobo's paw come out through the split in the curtains, open it up and look at her as good as to say, "What do you think you're doing?"
Oh, yeah, that's funny.
It's one of those moments you just wish you had something going. Like there was no peekaboo to it. She just opened the curtain up with her paw and looked at her like, "What do you think you're doing?" Yeah, cats can be the funniest people, and it's like having kids in the house all the time.
Potty trained ones.
True. Yeah, it didn't take anything to get her onto the litter box. I suspect that Hobo introduced her. Yeah, they usually are. Hobo hasn't been throwing out as much of the litter onto the floor. She was a bugger for. It was like she was trying to make a new beach. I'd clean the litter box and walk back in and find half of it out on the floor. And it's like, what are you doing?
I ain't kidding that we ended up having to get like one of those hoods that goes over it so she wouldn't just fling litter everywhere.
Oh, it wouldn't stop her. I'm just glad that she would wait until it was clean to play in
Right.
it.
It's my sandball.
Pretty much. Thank you, Engine.
Yes, thank you.
So I didn't bother doing a big post on it, but this is the 2-year anniversary for Pimp Your Post Thursday.
Today?
Today.
Happy anniversary.
Yes. So it's run every week for the last 2 years. And I think I missed 1 week or 2 weeks. So the one week that I missed, the show went ahead anyways.
Yeah, Kitty and Blue were here.
Kitty, Blue, Snook, I think, was recording. I think she did the recording on that. Kitty hosted it. Blue kept track of the queue, and I think Sarge did the list.
Yep, he did.
Because they were teasing me that it took 4 of them to replace me.
Yeah, I remember.
I actually had to laugh because that evening, like I was in surgery for the morning show, but in the evening show, I was back in my room, and I was logged into Discord. But at that point, I didn't realize that I could come into Discord for text, but I could not go into voice. And I messaged Blue and I said, I could probably do tonight's show, at least part of it. And he says to me, "Are you high?" And I went, "No." He says, "Then you're not doing it." Oh, okay. But
Artemis helped too. I remember another time
yeah,
he was going.
yeah, she did. Right, that was the one that I had to miss the morning one to receive an award in Coburg, Port Hope. That's right too. I'd forgotten about that one. Interesting times. Nightmare. What do you got that you're going to present? He's typing away something there. It's not about who follows you, but who you follow. Excuse me. Tell us about this.
So recently, I was being told that I'm so lucky because there's some whales following me. But I answered in that it's not about who follows you, but it's who you following. Because when you follow someone, then that person has very informative information about writing, some uh, yes.
We lost you.
Oh, about this, you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
So again, it's not who's following you because you know in this team there are lots of creators. As long as you can put the right tag in your post, many will find it. Then even if you have many followers, then your writing's not that interesting. Then they'll just ignore it. But unlike in you follow some uh, quality content create author, you have many more to learn, like their way of writing, their way of understanding life, some like that. So
That's true enough.
yeah, that's right. That's what I'm talking here. It's better to follow someone than you're following.
Yeah. So,
You can gain more knowledge.
did anybody ever find out where the blazes the Partico people have disappeared to? Engine's typing away. Oh, Hagen's going after OCD? That'd be vengeance downvoting because they were downvoting him. See, part of the problem when it comes to him, the time to have stopped him would have been when Bernie was trying to go after him when he first came onto the platform, and people wouldn't get behind him. God only knows, nightmare. I think that What's Up is getting pretty well zeroed on any post that she puts up between Hagen and Bernie. I see Justine put up a post this morning haranguing people about the fact they feel hurt when they get downvoted. Yeah, likely. Yeah, there's some pretty childish behavior on here at times. Oh yeah. Some of that downvoting that's going on there right now with Bernie was over a post that Draco's did. Apparently, Axeman's getting downvoted by Bernie as well.
See, I vote both their witnesses. I think Bernie's funny as shit sometimes, some of the posts he comes out with.
So do I. I
And
agree.
oh my God. Draco's, he's just been super supportive of the Team Silver Gold, that was like the second or third community I ever joined. I mean, actual participation wise, anyway. So I gotta pat him on the back there. Plus, he did the Steamian, and that thing's been going for years. He can actually
Yep.
say years now, right? It's going on 2 years, maybe more.
Oh,
It
easily,
froze
yeah.
last night. I figured that out. I don't know if you saw. I got in chatting here about 4 o'clock in the morning and couldn't sleep, and I was like, "What the heck? Nobody's getting blocks." But then I looked and I checked that little bit from Archange that Intersats threw up there, and people were hitting. It's just it wasn't being recognized on Steamian info. I inboxed Draco, so I was like, "Dude, are you like super pissed? You gonna stop doing Steamian or what's up?" He's like, "What's going on?" And I was like, "It's not registering." And he's like, "Oh crap." So it apparently had frozen and he had to reinitialize it.
Oh. Well, he and I had a conversation because I did unvote him over that post that he did slamming Greta Thunberg. And he and I had a conversation over it, and I told him, I says, I normally support you, and I'm normally a cheerleader for you, but I can't back you on this. So he accepted it.
I did unvote a couple other witnesses that unvoted me without asking me if I was coming back or not. Namely, LP and ATS David, the ATS witness.
ATS showed up yesterday. I was kind of surprised to see him.
Right? That was a shocker to me too. I was like,
Yeah. He was actually doing a little bit of kidding around, too.
which is odd. Usually he's poking people in the eye.
Well, either that or he was trying to poke me in the eye, and I took it as kidding. He called me a data miner thief. And I went, no. I said, no, it comes in the email, you little devil. And he kind of chuckled and went, oh. ATS witness is ATS David. Pretty nice. Get some interesting characters on here, that's for sure. So does anybody else got anything they want to present? He did. There's Bluefin. I'll bet you he's got one or two. So I don't know if anybody noticed or not, but Contra Borden, I hope I pronounced that correctly, not only did he get the commenting bot going again for us, but he's also set up a channel in here for us so that we can see what's happening with Shade on the market. So there's a channel there called Shade Market, and that's what it's doing is picking up off of Steam Engine transactions that are taking place with Shade. Oop. Engine dropped out. He may be having connection issues.
Well, I can still hear you.
Pardon?
I said I can still hear you.
No.
Bouncing in and out.
No, I said Engine must have dropped out. He came in, not Engine, Bluefin. He came in, never said anything, and then left. So I suspect he's having connection issues. Okay, what do you got for us, Engine?
Some more disgruntled employees. This coffee, love guy. He's one of the nicest people I've met through the blockchain. Always willing to help people and big supporter of the fam over in the Alliance. He goes into a little bit of his witness update, and for the second or third time, he rants a little bit about bid bots. You notice at the beginning what he says. He says rewards from this post are set to 100% for the Steam DAO and yada yada yada, which is because they're going to get to 50% curation, but the rest of it's going to go to the Steam DAO. I don't know the logic behind that. He's getting $2 and $3 a post, and now all of a sudden, he was a big bid botter like me for a while there.
Well, he got
He had,
upvoted on that by OCDB and the Marky Mark. No names left to use. So they must have at least appreciated his arguments.
he wasn't too overly passionate like I'm gonna be here. I've been working on one all day. I had to take a few breaks because I about bit my tongue off a couple times. Had to rewrite a few things on it. So yeah, it might be a little too strong wording.
Well, I was reading a post by somebody this morning, who's a certain amount of influence on the blockchain, and I think one of the things that really irritated the hell out of me in reading that post was the attitude that, well, we're going to normalize downvoting, and you're going to get to the point that you're not even going to get upset about it. Like, how dare you get upset about it? And I'm reading down through this, and I'm thinking, you know what? Dying is normal. We still get upset when people die. So it's not so much that you get upset when you get a downvote. It's how you react to it that matters. Trying to tell people they should not get upset or not be bothered by getting a downvote is kind of a slap in the face, I think.
Right, you should leave a comment on that post. So if
Nah,
Kaizen or Bernie Sanders or somebody came along and downvoted you, you wouldn't be in the least bit upset that you just lost all your post rewards.
I'm actually
I'm sure they
working on
would.
a I'm working on a post. But I think if you want to normalize something, you need to recognize the fact that the action is going to create a reaction. It's how people manage that reaction that's going to matter.
Yeah, I've been getting hit with one or two flags on every post now. I mean, I'm trying not to be upset about it because I know it is kind of a stupid thing, but for the most part, it's all linked to that Camille Steamer and Coin Instant and that crew because I did a little digging and you can see all the wallet transfers going back
Yep.
and forth between them. But
Really
yeah,
do
a
need
lot
to.
of them don't really hurt you. It's like 10%, 0.000. So
Yeah, they don't hurt at all. So we really need to try to get people to understand that, if it's those 10% ones and they're zero zeros, whatever, please ignore them. Do your best, ignore them. They've probably not even looked at the post. It's strictly nothing personal.
yeah, they just went through the new posts and started flagging.
I was
That one,
reading
that one, that one, that one.
I was reading one article and a guy was complaining about the fact that he was getting flagged, and he was gonna quit because he was getting flagged. And I went into SteamWorld and I took a look, and yeah, he was getting pretty well every post he was getting hit, but it was those ones. And I come back to leave him a comment, and I saw somebody else had explained it to him. And once that person explained it to him, he came back and said, oh well, if it's not hurting me, then I'll leave it alone. He just hadn't taken a look. He was just reacting. Hey,
So
cowboy.
how does that help them? How does that help Camille's steamer and co-instant? I don't understand that.
I don't either. The only thing I can figure is they
Camille's
actually
actually
want to be
got
a nuisance.
quite a good stake. He's got quite a decent little stake built up from, I don't know what he's doing. He just keeps getting accounts and more accounts and sending everything to that one account. So
Camille Steamer?
yeah,
I looked at that account the other day, unless I was looking at the wrong one, and I only saw about 85 steam power.
one second.
Okay. Because they're talking about they're going to go after circle jerks. Well, I think they need to shut that one down somehow. The problem seems to be they open an account, they'll make a post, maybe 2 posts, and then it's a month or 2 later when they start doing the downvoting with it. And they haven't done any comments, so there's no comments that you could downvote back, and there's no post to downvote back.
Yeah, it's 88 Steam
Yeah,
with all of the received whatever Steam power from all of the circle. That's it.
and it's those little minuscule amounts, so you're kind of like, what are they doing? I hadn't noticed whether Camille is sending it out anywhere.
That's what I'm looking.
So, Engine, I was mentioning earlier, I wish there was a way to put this as code that when you have an account and you've got delegation from, your 15 SP delegation, that they should be able to say, look, you can't transfer anything out until you've paid off that 15 SP delegation. That would prevent the, that would be a great way to prevent building these little circles with all these shitty little accounts. Oops, sorry.
What? What are you sorry for?
Potty language.
Oh, like I give a care. I've been known to let fly with a few. Miss Dream was in briefly.
Oh, well, I missed it.
Well, I got notice that she'd made a comment on a post, so then I tagged her in here, and she answered. She was on the road and was going to be out of reception in like 2-3 minutes, so it was very brief.
Yeah, she had said something about after work she was heading straight down the mountain, which usually means she's out of touch.
Yeah. Yeah, she said she had like 2 minutes before she'd lose reception, so it was a brief back and forth and, hi, I love yous and that sort of thing. So, what do you got first, Blue?
I had promoted this earlier this morning, but I thought I would different audience and perhaps mention it. I was recently up at my alma mater in upstate New York and took a little photo or two backstage, which brought back some memories of not only being there, but also my life backstage working. And so a couple of photos here and there of the backstage world.
I like those photos.
And a little chit chat about it as well, not just the photos.
So, you're kind of never really left it, have you, with the shows you do?
I started in the business doing follow spot at about 11 and a half years old for my dad, working for a show of his, and have been doing this since. I've never really left it. I've always been working backstage.
Yeah. In one capacity or another.
Yipper.
You'd almost think you like it.
Well, getting paid to not go to an office, getting paid to do stuff I enjoy, yeah, I could do that.
It's a tough life, but somebody's got to do it. You might as well.
Yes.
Very true. So has anyone got anything else they want to share with us?
Oh, I also straightened out my Steemit board.
Oh, did you? I scrolled to the bottom.
Yes, in the bottom, I straightened out my Steemit board.
What did you change since this morning?
Well, sorry, you heard about it
Oh,
after. That
okay.
was an hour after in the after chat, an hour after. But since this morning, I fixed it.
Good to see you. Pretty nice. Yeah, I like it. It looks good. Go for it, Engine. I think Snook has started fake news now. She's been awful quiet.
This is from fellow vet and stacker Rockason84, and I've always had an interest in alternative energies. I don't think fossil fuels were a good idea back when the Industrial Revolution started, but it is what it is. Technology does its thing, and we just kind of have to play along. But one thing I've always wanted to get is solar panels, and he jumped in chat the other day and was like, oh, I'm about to put these solar panels in. I was like, heck yeah, I want to see them. So he threw this post up about how he installed it, where he got it from, and I had no idea you could buy this stuff from Walmart. So it's on my wish list for Christmas right now. Maybe Santa will say I was almost a good boy and get me a couple.
You can
But no,
buy
it's
solar panels at Walmart?
well, not if you walk in there. You have to go to the website. He said there's all kinds of different things on the website that you can get from Walmart that you'll never see in the store. So yeah, I was pretty shocked. I have to go to the website to order it, but he did his thing. I'm hoping here in about a week or so he'll put out another update on how they're performing and what kind of energy he saved and that type of thing. So he said they were having to go to town to get ice every other day, and just it was starting to cost a little bit. So
Solar powered electrical system. Cool.
he's even more off grid now than he was before.
So were the winds down on the Cape, or were they at home, or both, Blue?
The winds are on the Cape.
Have they settled down, or would...
They are pretty high winds still, but I didn't even head to the Cape because we're most likely losing power, and so I didn't even want to go there.
Yeah, gotcha. Can understand that.
But it's rescheduled for today. For Tuesday, and so we'll have solar power on Tuesday at the house on the Cape.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, I've been waiting a while.
Inbox me the link and or picture if you don't want to do a actual post for it. I want to see pictures and stuff. Professional install then?
Oh yeah.
So is this one of the setups where they come in and install, and any excess feeds back to the grid?
Yeah, all of the excess goes to the. Essentially, what it's going to work out to be is 8 months of the year we're going to get no bill, no electric bill. 2 months of the year will be a wash, and 2 months of the year we're going to be paying into the system. So we're instead of selling our power back to the solar power company, we bought everything, and we are paying for electrical, but we're getting a credit with the that gets sold to the grid. So those will be the months that are a wash.
So that's calculating with you only being there at certain times, or is that figuring all round occupancy?
Well, no, that was looking at the last 3 years. So one of those is a year where my mom was there full time, and 2 of those years are nobody there full time. But that's still us, I was still there about 6.5, 7 months that this past year. So
that's pretty decent, actually.
And our peak usage are whenever I'm there in January and February, which was quite a bit, just because it's electric heat. So
yeah. Yeah, I have electric here. So I heat with heaters. Interestingly enough, when I started, I was using an oil furnace, but this house, with it being so old and so drafty, um, the oil furnace would run almost constantly. Where with the heaters, I can kind of control the amount of heat in each room a little bit, and it will kick on and off a little bit more. So I actually end up saving. Go again, Blue.
So, did anybody present guilty parties discussion of the downvoting, upvoting, any of that?
Engine did.
Oh, take that back then.
Okay.
Oh no, we can talk about it. I got cut off. Right, right.
Yeah, Engine presented it, and I kind of had to wing through the discussion.
I missed the discussion, so I'm not sure what was said or not, but I am glad that somebody has brought it up before. It's a good thing and a good subject to discuss.
Were you still on yesterday? That the discussion did come up during the witness chat.
I
Yeah,
was not. I
made
missed
sure
it.
it did.
So I invited Dan the Man. He was Dan the Man. I keep going back to that. They call me Dan. Dan the Man was Dan Larimer. They call me Dan was in the channel, so I invited him to come on voice, which he did. And his argument is that bid bots diminish the work of the manual curators, and that's one of the reasons that he's opposed to them.
My thing is, if somebody wants to invest their hard-earned steam in, like what Guilty says, an advertisement for their blog, there shouldn't be anything wrong.
So the post that OCD put out, the read that I had on it was, if you want to do advertising, that's okay, but you need to set the post to decline rewards so that you're not making a profit off the bid bot.
And how exactly does that help you get seen by declining the rewards? Because that's one of the parameters for the trending page.
If you put decline rewards and you bid bot it, it will go up to the trending page. And I specifically asked Dan about that. That if somebody bid bot and they declined rewards, that's a problem. If somebody gifts somebody else with the bid bot.
Yeah, let's say you write a post, I use a bid bot and say, hey, I really like this, I want to promote it. How does that help or hurt you? I mean, do you suddenly get attacked and downvoted because a bid bot was voting on it?
Exactly. Yeah, you would.
And here's the irony is, even though I've stopped using bid bots, I have bid bots that I used in the past that still seem to be coming on my post. I don't know whether they're manually curating and upvoting.
Interesting topic you bring up in studios, because Tipu in the past couple days,
We lost you.
What? Wait, what? No! What has happened to him?
His connection maybe gave out on him. I should knock off the stream. You've been listening to Shadows Pub host, Pimp Your Post Thursday, evening edition from the Ramble. Until next time, it's all about community. And yep, bye, Wilma.